Trump administration dismisses over 400 DHS employees in ongoing federal workforce reduction. Washington, D.C., the Trump administration announced on Friday the termination of more than 400 employees at the Department of Homeland Security, marking the latest wave of mass firings in a broader campaign to significantly shrink the federal workforce. The dismissals span multiple DHS agencies, including the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Officials stated that the cuts targeted non-mission critical personnel in probationary status, as part of an effort to streamline operations and reduce inefficiencies. In a statement to CBS News, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin emphasized the administration's commitment to cutting waste and incompetence. Under President Trump's leadership, we are making sweeping cuts and reforms across the federal government to eliminate egregious waste that has burdened American taxpayers for decades. McLaughlin estimated the personnel reductions would save approximately $50 million and described the move as incalculably valuable to the administration's broader goal of reducing bureaucratic red tape. FEMA. Over 200 employees were dismissed from the nation's disaster relief agency. This follows the termination of 4 FEMA employees earlier this week for allegedly bypassing agency leadership to reimburse New York City for migrant-related hotel costs. CISA, more than 130 employees were cut from the Cybersecurity Agency, which was established in 2018 to protect U.S. critical infrastructure from cyber and physical threats. USCIS. Nearly 50 workers were let go from the agency responsible for processing immigration benefits, including citizenship applications, green cards, asylum requests, and work permits. Science and Technology Directorate. An additional 10 employees were dismissed from this DHS division. Notably, agencies central to President Trump's immigration enforcement agenda, such as Customs and Border Protection and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, were unaffected by the latest round of firings. The DHS cuts align with President Trump's executive order issued earlier this week, directing agency leaders to prepare for large-scale reductions in force. On Thursday, the Office of Personnel Management convened a meeting with agency heads, instructing them to begin terminating employees still in their probationary periods. Federal employees typically remain on probation for 1 to 2 years after being hired, a status that provides limited workplace protections and makes them easier to dismiss. The Trump administration has aggressively pursued workforce reductions across various federal agencies, including the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Department of Education, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the United States Forest Service. Additionally, the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, has undergone significant staff cuts as part of the administration's efforts to curtail foreign aid spending. The mass firings are being carried out in coordination with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, an initiative led by billionaire Elon Musk. DOGE has placed officials across federal agencies to identify and eliminate bureaucratic inefficiencies and freeze funding deemed wasteful. I think we need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leaving a lot of them behind. He likened the effort to removing weeds by their roots to prevent regrowth. Claiming his administration had uncovered billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse, though he provided no specific evidence to support the assertion. The latest firings have sparked debate over the potential impact on federal operations, particularly within agencies like CISA, which plays a critical role in safeguarding U.S. election infrastructure. Critics argue that the reductions could undermine national security and disaster response capabilities, while supporters maintain that the cuts are necessary to streamline government and reduce taxpayer burdens. As the Trump administration continues its push to shrink the federal workforce, the long-term effects of these sweeping changes remain to be seen. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order initiating the creation of a U.S. sovereign wealth fund, a government-owned investment vehicle aimed at leveraging national assets to generate wealth.
Check one, check.
The order directs Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary nominee Howard Lutnick to begin the process of establishing the fund. White House Staff Secretary Will Scharf confirmed the move, stating it is a step toward hopefully creating an American sovereign wealth fund. We're going to create a lot of wealth for the fund, and I think it's about time this country had a sovereign wealth fund, calling the initiative very exciting. The president also suggested that TikTok could be included in the fund. The popular app was set to be banned in the United States under a law that took effect in January unless its Chinese parent company sold it. However, Trump has delayed enforcement of the ban, keeping TikTok operational for now. Bessent emphasized that the fund would monetize the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet for the American people. He projected that the sovereign wealth fund would be operational within 12 months, using government assets to generate returns. He also stated that the administration would study global models to ensure best practices in managing the fund. Sovereign wealth funds typically invest national reserves to generate profits that can be used to address deficits, reduce debt, or build national savings. However, questions remain about transparency and oversight, including safeguards to ensure that a U.S.-owned fund would not be used for political gain. Several countries, including China, Singapore, New Zealand, Norway, and Saudi Arabia, operate sovereign wealth funds. Norway's fund, the Government Pension Fund of Norway, is the largest in the world, with assets valued at $1.7 trillion, nearly 20% of the country's annual budget. Please like and subscribe to Everyday News.